to bring people in and to change the trajectory of their life for decades. We have clients who've been trained with us for over 20 years. So we get our hands on people who work with them for a very long time and literally modify their future in an incredibly positive way. So it's very similar what would happen if I was coaching people on a nutrition standpoint long term. And I guess the flip side, which is the other side of your question, what did I not like about working in diet therapy back in the late 80s, was that it was limited access. I would go in and I'd have a person who just had a heart attack, and I'd be giving them their diet therapy prescription, and I was probably going to never see them again for the rest of my life. They'd go out and they'd walk into a world that was going to tear their head off and make it difficult to comply with these guidelines I was giving them. So I wanted some way to support and connect and stay with people and guide them and coach them, which of course in today's world, as you guys know, that is an enormous growing field of this whole area of just professional health coaching. There's all kinds of coaching certifications where you can take your degree, whatever it might be, and bundle it into more of an ongoing support system where you can guide, coach, and help people long term. So we help people for many years, and to me that is more than exciting. That's really what drives me, that we get to change the trajectory of their whole life from a physical wellness standpoint. Good question though. Okay, if there are no other questions at the moment, what I'd like to do real quickly is just share 3 highlights that I've gleaned from my 30 years of experience. And hopefully this will be of some value to you as you're sort of looking forward to what's next for you in your career. So the first insight is that your career is not a straight line. Let me say that again. Your career is not a straight line. When we're students in college, and even shortly thereafter, we're always thinking in a straight line. We're thinking about the next step with the right job and more compensation and more benefits and more time off. We sort of view our trajectory as each decade gets better and better and better. And I'm not saying that can't happen, but it is not a straight line, guys. As an example, you're going to need to step sideways in your career. You're going to need to step backwards to be able to move forward. And let me just give you an example of what happened to me so you can add some context to this. I had been working with my brothers for 21 years. We had 3 locations, thousands of clients, dozens of employees. And in 2008, I bought my partners, my brothers, out of one of our locations. And those of you who remember, 2008 was the Great Recession. We entered into an economic disaster in 2008 here in the United States. And so I bought a business that had been losing clients at the speed of light in 2008. I sold my home to buy this business at a loss because I had just lost tens of thousands of dollars on the value of my home. So I essentially sold it for what I paid for it, made no money, but paid a few $1,000s to get out of the mortgage and move on, and sold everything I literally had. I sold my car, I cashed in my life savings, my investments, used it to purchase this business at a time when the business was sinking and sinking fast. And so that was 2008. And so I went for over a year without paying myself a penny after having just cashed in my life savings. Not having a home, I moved into a small apartment in St. Charles. I obviously couldn't afford health insurance. I went without health insurance for about a year and a half at the age of 40. A little over 40, early 40s. And so I was living on credit cards and basically, 1 week away from just pulling the plug on everything. So I went from the conventional trajectory of more income, more savings, more investments, more benefits, more assets, bigger business, to basically a net worth of 0, actually negative net worth. So I had to work like a dog for several years before I could even pay myself at all. So I think arguably that's a gargantuan step backwards. If people were to look at what I was doing, they'd say, oh, you're going from making a lot of money to no money, but you're working 70 hours a week. You sold your home, you have no money, no savings, no investments, no nothing. You basically have the same net worth you had when you graduated college, and you got to run this business. So that was a step backwards, clearly, only because I had the vision that I could create something that would be valuable and useful in the future, and I could grow it, and in doing so, grow my own financial future at the same time. So we've grown every single year for 11 plus years. Every quarter we've grown. So that's, I think, a good example of how my career clearly was not a straight line. And I can give you other examples as well, but I just want you to be prepared that you might need to step laterally to give yourself a chance to move forward in the future. You might need to step backwards now to have a chance to move forward in the future. So don't get upset if you're not on the perfect sort of utopia trajectory of better every single year in all departments. That's really a myth. It's a fantasy. It really doesn't exist in today's world. So that's insight number one. Number two is that everything you do counts. You know, again, we're always thinking about the right job, at the right compensation, and so on. And I'm going to tell you that no matter what job you do, if you're working, several key things are happening to you. Number one, you have an enormous chance to develop relationships wherever it is you're working. That's important not only now, but that's important in the future, especially when you're going into business for yourself, or even if you're working for a large company. The relationships you build now are critical, instrumental to leveraging experiences into the future. So you have a great chance to build relationships, even if you're not in the quote-unquote perfect job. You have the opportunity to learn about yourself. I would have not known that I didn't like diet therapy if I didn't take a diet therapy job. So you may not know what really drives you right now. You have to take positions and uncover whether or not that's something that excites you or doesn't excite you. And so I didn't know. I thought, well, this is a step. I'm not too excited about it. It simply confirmed that I wasn't excited about it. So you get to learn about yourself no matter what job you're doing. Always a growing experience. And then you have a chance to actually gain knowledge and skills from that job, even if it's not directly related to what you're going to do in the future. I'm still using skills today, 30 years later, that I gained at HMR in the late 80s. I still use a ton of what I learned with that company today, 30 years later. So I just want you to know that don't consider the job by saying, well, is this the perfect job? There is a truckload of benefits to you to uncover what you like, to develop relationships, to learn about yourself. That is very valuable as you move forward. So don't evaluate the position as, well, does this give me everything I want? It's going to give you a ton of stuff if you let it. So don't be too limiting in how you view work opportunities, especially early in your career. And the last insight, guys, is this whole issue of what's your cause. The first question I received was what did I not like, what did I like later in my career. You have to decide for yourself as professionals, as credentialed professionals, what is it that you are excited about, passionate about, and what is your purpose on a professional level. And so you can call that your mission. You can call it what is your cause. You can call it whatever it is you want to call it. But what is it that you're excited about that will drive you and give you the energy to do you need to live for the rest of your life here? I mean, think about it. The average adult in our lifetime will have worked nearly 100,000 hours. They will have worked 100,000 hours in their lifetime. That's hard to conceive in today's world where half of the workforce tells you that they hate what they're doing. That's a death march, guys. That is an absolute death march. You need to get into something that drives you, because to be good at anything, you have to work hard at it. You're not going to work hard at something that you absolutely hate. You'll never get good at it. So the only reason I've been able to succeed is I have this deep-rooted passion for helping people improve their muscular fitness. And really, medically speaking, it's about how to avoid and reverse sarcopenia. For me, if I'm at the supermarket and I see an older man or woman walking who's weak, relatively dysfunctional, having a difficult time walking, it's like a knife in my heart. It hurts me that much to think we could reverse all of that. That is 100% lifestyle related. We could turn that around, change their life forever for the better. So my purpose is all about making life better for our clients, and it drives me like there's no tomorrow. Everything we do is linked to that, making their lives better through what we offer, which is supervised strength training. So uncover what your purpose is. You may not know it today. I didn't know mine when I was at college at NIU. I didn't. I knew I liked nutrition. I liked health sciences. I liked lifestyle stuff, but I wasn't really super clear on it. Keep asking questions, learning, working, and only through doing those things will you sort of discover what is your purpose, what is it that drives you, what is your mission professionally as a credentialed nutrition professional. So it's not a straight line. Don't worry if it's not a straight line. It won't be a straight line. It doesn't need to be a straight line to be successful. Everything you do counts, guys. Every job counts for multiple reasons. And number one, what is your purpose? What will get you to do the work you need to do to be good at your doing and to enjoy in many ways the work that you actually do. So those are my insights over 30 plus years. Again, I'm grateful to have had the time with you this morning. Anything else that I can help anyone with or answer this morning? So what would I advise to someone who is passionate about the application of nutrition science towards strength training? Again, phenomenal question. I'd say, well, the good news is today there is an enormous amount of information on nutrition as it relates to good muscular fitness. And I think look at all the professional resources. You're basically looking at the literature in the sports nutrition arena. Now, again, I'm not certified in sports dietetics, but I've spent my career looking at nutrient requirements for people who are strength training and so on. So I'd say become a sports and cardiovascular nutrition dietetic practice group member, SCAN member. That's the dietetic practice group that specializes in sports nutrition. They'll publish research on both sports nutrition. Of course, a hot topic for decades here has been protein requirements. It still is. And a lot of the stuff that they're doing is directed towards just aging adults over the age of 50 as well. So we look at a lot of their literature and use that in recommendations for our clients. I would also join the American College of Sports Medicine, become a professional member.